A new deal between the EU and Turkey aimed at restructuring refugees entering Europe has been put into force in the last few hours. Now, if someone in Greece doesn't meet the criteria for asylum, they'll be sent back to Turkey. The first group of people to be returned boarded ferries on the Greek island of Lesbos and Chios at dawn. They were mainly from Pakistan and were taken to the Turkish port of Dikili. And Randolph Nogel is there for us. So Randolph, the boats have arrived in Dikili. What's the latest you can bring us from there now?
Well, just to bring you up to speed, we saw two boats coming in from the Greek island of Lesbos carrying 131 refugees and migrants. We're told they're mostly from Pakistan. Now, one of the boats, they basically sat out at sea several hundred meters off the coast for about 40 minutes. One is still sitting out there. Now, the other has pulled up to the dock here in Dikili. Refugees and migrants are being taken off one by one to the tents just erected on the dock. There, their fingerprints are being taken, their names are being taken. Medical personnel are on hand to administer a medical check. Now, according to police sources that we've spoken to, these migrants and refugees will be taken north to a town on the Bulgarian border where a camp is set up. Turkish authorities will then determine what next to do with them.
Okay, Randolph, thank you for now. Now, before arriving into Turkey, that group was being housed on several Greek islands, including Lesbos, where our Anelise Borges is now. So, Anelise, you were there when the ferries left Lesbos. How did the process seem from where you were?
Well, refugees were escorted by Frontex officers from the detention center they were being held over here to the port of Mytilene. They were then, of course, transferred from buses straight onto those ferries, two ferries that departed here. The process was relatively calm. There was no visible resistance from the refugees. There was of course heavy security, one Frontex officer per refugee, plus other Greek police officers helping with logistics. The European Border Agency Frontex is the one responsible for the transfer. They have been here organizing the logistics of this transfer. And we spoke to the spokesperson for the Border Agency Frontex. Here's what she had to say.
All of the migrants who left today were issued return decisions, and they were escorted by officers deployed by Frontex who came from many countries. There were French officers, Latvian, Lithuanian, Estonian, Danish. There were also officers from Luxembourg who assisted. They were in the morning. They were escorted onto buses, and then the buses came to the harbor. They boarded ferries. Before boarding the ferries, the lists with the names of migrants were verified by the Turkish authorities who were here in the harbor.
You described this process as calm and orderly before. Was there really no resistance from these people who were being taken back?
I was there from early in the morning. No, I did not see. It was truly a very calm and orderly process.
We had the impression, we were far away, but we had the impression that some of them were attached to the Frontex officers. Is this something you can confirm?
No, they were not. Many carried blankets, and they also had luggage, so they carried their luggage and their blankets. No, they were not.
Will there be more departures today and in the next few days?
I'm not aware of any departures today. In the next few days, it's possible. I don't have a schedule yet, but there will be more departures.
So we're hearing possible departures in the next few days from Frontex, Anelise, and some details of what happened to the refugees when they boarded the boats. Do we have any detail what will happen to the refugees who are still on the islands while they wait to be sent back to Turkey?
Well, they'll have to continue to wait inside that registration center turned detention center. Now, those refugees are not allowed out of that Moria detention center. They were given arrest notices, and they will have to wait there. Greece insists they are treating each case individually. Greece changed its laws to fast track the asylum process. So now a process that used to take months is processed in 2 weeks. So all those those people who arrive after March 20th, which is when the EU-Turkey deal came into effect, they will have to either apply for asylum here in Greece and wait for those 2 weeks, or decide not to apply, and then they will be sent back straight away. Of course, these refugees insist they don't want to go back to Turkey. They have nothing to go back to, and some of them continue to arrive. Over the weekend, more than 500 people arrived on Greek islands, and at least 3,000 are stranded here in Lesbos. Over all the Greek islands, there are more than 6,000 refugees waiting to hear whether or not they will have to go back or they can continue their journey.
Well, Anelise, for now from Lesbos, thank you.